Hi everyone, I'm Nikki and I am at Nikki Hearts Cards on all social media. Today we are going to be looking at the Eternal Love stamp set. This is a great set if you want to do some Copic coloring or some watercoloring. It has these beautiful flowers in it, and I'm going to use the ones that look to me most like peonies. Those are my favorite flowers, and I just can't wait to create some bold looks with those. We are also going to look at making our own metallic paper. So stay tuned. Let's get right into this video. So as you've noticed, I've already powdered the paper. I like to create an embossed image when I'm going to do Copic coloring. That just helps me make sure that my ink doesn't run, and it also gives me that little edge of the embossing to kind of butt up against and do coloring. So it's just one of those things that helps me out. So I'm going to stamp in VersaFine Nocturne a couple of times, and then I'm going to clear heat emboss this image. Once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and flip my paper over and get another. I just don't want to waste any of this paper, so I'm going to cut another image. I am going to cut these images out with dies, so it doesn't really matter the placement, but it's nice when you have a sticky mat and you've got a MISTI tool to be able to flip your paper around and just leave your stamp in the same place. Okay, so I'm going to get started with my lightest color. It's going to be R81, and this is a great pink that really looks great with all of the vintage colors in the paper pack for this release. So I just kind of match this to some of the pinks that are in there. And I also pick my colors a lot of times by what markers I actually own. And I have this trio of R81, R85, and R89. And they are kind of a jump in colors, but you're going to see how they create a very bold look. Now, I don't in any way consider myself like a professional Copic colorer. I just have a theory that kind of works for me and my limited coloring skills. I like to start out with the image, and especially a big floral image like this, just kind of go petal by petal, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult to decide what is going to be greenery and what is going to be the petal of the flowers, especially with peonies because they have so many petals. So I'm going to lay down my basic bottom color with not a whole lot of hoopla, just laying down color where I think pink needs to be, and I'm coloring each in, not doing tons of strokes, nothing like that, just getting the color laid down. Okay, here's what I've decided is petals versus greenery, okay? So I've got all the color laid down. I'm going to repeat this process for the other image because I'm going to have these images across from each other on a card. I want to keep it pretty consistent what I consider greenery and what I consider petals. Let's get started with our middle pink color, which is going to be R85. Now, this isn't a drastic difference in color from the other one, but you'll see when we go with our third color, it is very drastic. It's still several levels in Copics, so you can definitely see this pink. And from here, I'm going to start from the bottom of petals and just do the little swishes up towards the middle of the petal. I'm not super careful. Like I said, I'm just trying to make there be definition in this flower. And so I'm creating some difference in color between the petals. So I'm going from the bottom of these petals, and then I will also create up in the top part of them. I will just add some darkness into those center petals, not being super careful, but we still have a few right here, and I felt like this should go down so the darkness is all in kind of one line. And then I'm going to add that center area. So let's move on to the center. Okay, and I'm going to speed this up just so you can see. I'm just adding a little bit of darkness at the bottom of each of these areas where they start. And I'm not being super careful. I just want to get some definition in the middle of that flower. You are about to see what bold looks like. Okay, so we're going to take R89, which is a dark red. It's still in the same color family. Like I said, we're using R81, R85, and R89. With this color, I'm coming in with just a small area. I will come back and blend it out just a little bit, but I'm not going to be excessive in my blending because I do want this very bold definition in this flower. Here's how it's looking. It looks pretty drastic, so I'm going to come in with R85 and I'm going to blend out this red a little bit, and that's going to take it to a whole new level. Like I said, you're going to die when you see this on a card. It looks so good, so I am going to add this blending that will kind of level out that red just a little bit, and I'm going to go over all of the red that I've done with the R85 and just add a little bit more interest to it. Our first green color is YG63, and I'm going to use kind of a weird combo of colors here, but once again, this is partly due to the options that I have and also just creeping with that wonderful vintage type color. So this YG63 is not my normal leaf color, but like I said, I wanted that vintage feel, and this really looks good with some of the papers in the new paper pack. So I'm going to color all leaves in with this, and then we'll go in with our next darkest color. Our medium green is YG67. And I'm doing like I did with the flowers, where I'm taking that medium color about halfway down the leaves. I can use it to blend out if I need to later, but the next color that we're going to use is not quite as drastic of a difference as the red that we used, so it will be a little bit less blending. Our darkest color of green is G94. So we've done YG63, YG67, and now G94. And I'm just doing a little bit like I did with the leaves, or I mean the flower petals. I just am adding a little bit at those junctions. And like I said, it's not going to be quite as drastic as our red, but it's really going to give these leaves a beautiful look. Now I just love how bold these look against this beautiful kind of sagey green color from one of the paper packs. Here's where making our metallic paper comes in. I feel like that needed some kind of frame just to bring some beautiful attention to these flowers. So I'm going to start with plain white paper. I'm going to use Lunar Paste, which is a mixed media paste. It's a very opaque color and it's called Gold Rich. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a large area with this color and scrape it down the paper. Make sure that I don't see any white through it, and I'm going to make it large enough for an A2 card. Once it's dry, we are going to cut a frame out of it. Now look how gorgeous this looks. It is a little bit warped, but that's okay. When we cut the frame out, we're going to use rectangle dies and create a frame that fits perfectly on an A2 card. So I'm grabbing these, and then we're going to tape it to the paper. Once it runs through the die cutting machine and you use adhesive on it on your card, I really haven't had any problem with that warping. It's stuck down perfectly fine, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. So one thing that makes Lunar Paste amazing for this kind of technique specifically is that I don't have any problem with it peeling off the paper once it's dry. So I can add tape and all kinds of things, and I'm not peeling any of that Lunar Paste off. It's like it becomes just your own metallic paper. So I highly recommend it for that. I did put two rectangle dies together to create a frame, and then we're going to use that kind of to help with our focal point on our card. Okay, so this creates a frame, and then we have this nice rectangle on the inside here that's covered in that Lunar Paste. I'm going to use that to die cut for another project, so don't worry, not throwing that away. But look at how perfect this rectangle turned out. It's so beautiful. I'm going to show it to you on the beautiful green paper right here. Look at how nice that looks. You could use whatever you want to hold this down. I ended up using glue, and I did some foam tape on the flowers. Then I went back in and added some beautiful little gemstones from the latest collection. I love that Honeybee has these sparkly things that already have adhesive on the back. So you can just grab them off the paper and you don't have to worry about getting a glue smudge anywhere. They just have a little bit of adhesive on the back and they work perfectly. Of course, I will link all these things for you in the description. I've been using products from the Honeybee Stamps new release. So if you're wondering if I say products and didn't actually say Honeybee Stamps, I wanted you to know that's where these are from. But of course, you can use any floral image to create this kind of look. I do think peonies work really well with creating that dark area. And I just love coloring this way. I love having that bold, standout flower. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed making this fun metallic gold frame as well. Such a fun way to use your paste. Here are some final pictures, and of course I'll pop up a video for you at the end so that you can see some more of my work. Have a great day. Bye.